It's Linda K. Lee on the internet TV. Relational, uplifting, motivational. We coming straight from the heart with this one. Trying from the very start. She really tries to do her part. She comes straight from the heart.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Straight from the Heart. I'm Linda K. Lee, and I thank you for coming back and hanging out with me for another 1 hour packed show, power-packed show. Thank you for all of you all that tuned in live last week, or even by way of a replay to our 32nd wedding anniversary show. We renewed our vows right there. But the interview that we had before the vows, I looked back at it and I was like, wow, I took out pen and paper and started writing notes on the interview that I did. So I thank you for just being here with us. It meant a lot to know that you were here for us. It meant a lot to do it. It meant a lot for me to stand there and watch my man say those things that I didn't even know that he felt or that was in him, because he didn't know what I was going to say and I didn't know what he was going to say, but we said it. Today we have another Power Pack show for you. I have an author, you guys, that knows how to migrate from one side of the world to the other. And we are going to be talking about the joys of being single. You know how you walk around saying, oh, I don't need anybody, or I don't want anybody, or I want somebody and I'm extra desperate. We're going to help you out with that today. And then our music, you're going to think you're sitting out at Wolf Creek or in the park, or you're just going to feel like flowers are just swooning in your life when you hear this voice. Oh, my goodness. But before we get to our musical guest, Mr. Kyle, I love the way he just says his name is Kyle, but when I looked at it on the card, it looks more like Kyle. Before we get to Mr. Kyle, all the way from Newark, New Jersey, that's where he was born and raised. So I guess he got that musical talent from up north, but he brought it down south so that we can get a piece of it. Before he comes to you, I want to let you know that if you are looking for a natural hairstylist, if you're looking for someone to give you that right cut, I have a duo for you. I have Miss Kia Coward and Mr. Mark. They're right over there on Lakewood Way in Atlanta, the south side of Atlanta, right off of Metropolitan. Mark cut my hair. He cut about 3 inches off so today is the 16th, so it's been a month since my hair has been cut. And Kia, she did the styling. So check them out. Give them some business. Call her up and just get a hair assessment or something if you're looking for a new style. Her phone number is 407-409-1797. Just ask for Kia. Now, I also want to let you know, if you are single and you're looking to get engaged or you're dating kind of seriously, but you need a little guidance, or you're already engaged and you got the wedding date planned and everything, but you need some guidance. Or you may be married and you're winning and you just need a little help from time to time to keep it that way. Or you may be married and you're going through. You may be married and headed out and you need some help. My husband and I can help you. We are Prepare Enrich marriage educators. We're certified to do this. We'll sit down with you. We'll do an assessment to see whether or not we're the right people for you, and then we'll take it from there. Give us a call. Now, I don't know if George can put the number on the screen, but if he can't, I'm going to give it to you. And if he can, I'm going to give it to you anyway. Please call us at 678-499-1802. Again, that phone number is 678-499-1802. And we'll get with you. We'll make that appointment for you, and we will be there for you. Do not enter into that thing called marriage without some guidance. We're here to give you that. Okay, you guys ready to get into this show? Let's handle our business. We are going to let your ears get swooned and crooned by none other than Mr. Kyle.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, everybody. How you doing? This is where the Prince Yasher, that's PRINCEYASHER. And I make love music. I make family music. I make wholesome music, you know? Just trying to put a different kind of vibe in the atmosphere again. Some soul, something just that feels good. So I wrote a song today. It's called We're Family. And it's just talking about, you know, the situations that our family is going into in particular. But all families are one families if you read that book. That book say Noah had 3 sons, right? So that's at least my opinion. I just want to say thank you again today for Mrs. Linda. But I'm going to let y'all go ahead and hear this song. I hope you love it. I hope you like it. It comes from my heart to yours. It's called Family. Oh, 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 wow, wow. Oh, 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 wow, wow. We're family, yeah, you and me. We'll make it through it all, no matter what the cost. We're family, yeah, you and me. We'll make it through the pain, the rain, and all the trouble. My I says, oh, 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 wow, wow. We're dying, they're lying, being shot and haunted. Why you hate me? I'm just trying to be the greatest I can be. A lion from Zion, I am a king, and you're a queen. And we'll make it through it all, no matter what the cost. We're family, yeah, you and me. And we'll make it through the pain, the rain, and all the trouble. My eye says, oh, ooh, ooh, oh, wow, wow. Why we hurting, not yet loving, not yet willing to love through all. Oh, can you feel the grace, family, to breathe another day? And we take for granted that y'all gave us all new life. But we need to learn to love each other, have a peaceful word to say, have a peaceful place for kids to run. Yeah, you and me, we'll make it through it all, no matter what the cost. We're family, yeah, you and me. We'll make it through the pain, the rain, and all the trouble. My eye says, oh, ooh, 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 wow, wow. I love you, black people. I love you, black people. I feel your pain, people. I feel your pain, people. But we're family. Wow. Black people, I love you. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
wow. Okay. I just got to hear another one. Please, God. Yes, please. I'm sure that everybody out there in Facebook land and in TV land feel like me. Can we get one more?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Give it up for Cal, you guys.
Awesome.
Please give it up for Cal.
That's cool. One more time. All right, that's cool. So I wrote a love song too, man. I love love. I wrote this scripture. I'm a preacher's kid, so I believe a lot of words. It says that love covers a multitude of sin. Y'all know that? You ever heard that before, Miss Linda?
Yes, I have.
So this is a love song, and my heart was in love with a young lady, and it's nothing like that feeling, man. So here we go. Thought one day I would die. Thought I would live without your love next to mine. But you stayed and fought it through. You're the one I knew. Since the day I saw you, girl, show me your love. Give me your everything. Give you my heart, give you this diamond ring. We'll be together in love, full of kisses and hope. You are everything I reason I sing. Cause I found you the one that I need. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. You belong to me. Yeah, it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. You belong to me. I belong to you. So glad I found you. You belong to me. Oh, that mind, girl, that body. Never leave my side. Walk together, girl. You and I will rule the world in love. So long as you're my girl. What's a king without his queen? What's a man without his woman? Nothing, no, he's nothing, no. You are my star. And together we'll go far. Together we'll go far. Oh, it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. You belong to me. Oh, it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. You belong to me. I belong to you. You belong to me. You belong to me. You belong to me. You belong to me. Whoa, whoa. I belong to you, baby. And you belong to me. Me. Ooh. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much. Oh, that was awesome. That was amazing. I've got to have him back. I've got to have him not only back on this show, but I got to have him in some other things that I'm getting ready to do. Oh, yeah. Now, that was it. That was more me than I think anything I've had here so far. Like, I could do that. Okay. Are you buckled up? Because we are about to go on a ride, a roller coaster ride. We're going to start at the top of one end of your life, and we're going to go down to the bottom part and come back up to the top. I want to introduce to you author extraordinaire, Miss Lorraine Bedford Watts. Give it up for Lorraine. All right. I can't see Lorraine on my monitor, y'all. So y'all got to work it out in the back now because they're live, but I got to be able to see my girl. Okay. All right. There you go. Hey, Lorraine. Hi. Pick that mic up, girl. They can see you now. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. One thing about, I love the fact that I do live theater and I do stage, because if I did all productions that were edited, then I'd be so plastic. But because I do live theater, I know that when it's live, anything that can go wrong can, and you just be ready to improvise.
Absolutely.
You look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
You know what we're here to talk about, right?
My book.
We're going to talk about your book,
That's
Party of One. I remember when I first saw the, and I want you guys to see this. Can you get that? Can you get that? I remember when I first saw the cover before the book came out and you were marketing it. I was like, this is a classy cover.
I love that cover.
It was a classy cover. And what I loved about it, because a party of one, you're talking about actually being that one person. Usually if we're going to be somewhere and we're alone, we don't make it this dainty.
Exactly.
That's the point. That's the premise I got from the book is I am special enough to be treated with this kind of class with just me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so tell me a little about you. You come from Shreveport.
I do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, how close is Shreveport to New Orleans?
Everybody asks me that. But it's day and night. Shreveport's up here. New Orleans is down there.
Okay, so give it to me from way of like Atlanta. So like Atlanta's here,
Atlanta,
Savannah. Gotcha. I knew it. Okay, got it. All right. Party of one. So my favorite part, and I want you to kind of talk, introduce yourself a little bit and just tell us who you are and how'd you come to write this book? Because I'll dive in there because I got some pages I'm going to get to.
I see.
I got markers and lines and stuff. I got to do my homework, but yeah, okay.
Okay, so about me, I am from, like you said, Shreveport, Louisiana, born and raised, proud of it, love growing up there. When you come from a place and you don't really travel a lot as a kid, you always think this is the place to be.
I know. That's me in Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And Atlanta actually is. But, I came from Shreveport, and it was a great city to raise a family in. And all my family was there, and a lot of them still are. But so I migrated to Atlanta in about 1983, 84, just looking for better job opportunities and kind of a more exciting life and a husband. I figured Atlanta's larger, so
I love it.
absolutely more men here, so I could go there and find actually what I'm looking for. And so, but it was more for a good job opportunity and just wanted a change. I grew up in Shreveport, loved it, but I just kind of wanted a change, and that's why I came to Atlanta.
And you've been here how long?
Oh, goodness. I've lived in Atlanta longer than I lived in Shreveport.
So you're really a native. You're almost a native.
I'm almost.
We're going to let you almost be a native. Tell us how this book came to be a party of one.
Oh, wow.
I want to know the story. Go ahead. And I'm going to get to that story in Cracker Barrel.
Okay.
I love it.
But before that.
Before the Cracker Barrel incident.
The Cracker Barrel.
It's in the book, you guys. That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about, the Cracker Barrel. Okay.
It was prophesied to me that God had a husband for me.
Now,
I'm not sure if I actually before then really was focused on having a husband at the time. But like I said in the book, once somebody prophesies something to me, it's hard for me to let it go.
So let me read that piece.
Okay.
It says, one word from God can change your entire life. The year was 1983, and I was 22 years old. I was visiting family in Alexandria, Louisiana, when I received a prophetic word that God was going to bless me with a husband. Now, I must admit, though, before I received that word, marriage was not on my mind, although I think it was likely in my heart. Yeah. I love that. It wasn't in your mind, but it was in your heart. Talk to us about that prophecy.
Well, I've always wanted to be a wife. But at the time that I received that prophecy, I wasn't focused on being a wife. I wasn't focused on finding a husband. I wanted the family. I wanted the husband, the 2.5 children, the minivan, the house with the fence around it. I wanted all of that. But at the time, I just wasn't focused on that. Actually, I was just doing my own thing. I had a job. I was working. And I was actually partying some weekends and just kind of doing my thing, dating off and on, nothing serious. But yeah, so I think a part of me was like, I want to settle down, but I wasn't at that time ready or looking. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. And now we come to why you got to this point, right? So like a party of one, like it's interesting how we don't realize how much the single community is looked upon or looked down upon, right?
Absolutely.
I heard someone single say, even the churches don't know what to do with single people.
Exactly.
They have a singles ministry, but they don't know. And it's really a lot of sectors of singlehood. It's the singlehood where you've never been married.
Right.
It's the singlehood where you're now divorced. It's the singlehood where you're now widowed.
Right.
I remember my husband and I were over the marriage ministry at our church at New Life. And a young lady came up. Well, okay. She came up to the table and she said, I don't know if I was working the table. We were getting ready to do a marriage retreat. And she said, I don't know if I should be at your table or that table. I said, well, that's the singles ministry table. She said, but I'm engaged. I said, that's your table because you're not married yet.
Right.
Then a lady came up and she said, well, I'm recently widowed, but I don't want to hang out with no, I don't feel single. Her husband, I think maybe 6 months or a year, she still felt married. He was there in her heart.
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the ones who have never been married, there's a cloud over them.
Right.
Something's wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about showing up at a party with no one, or go to Cracker Barrel and tell us how that came about when people come to you and say, okay, so you're waiting on someone, and you're like, no, I'm a what?
I'm a party of one.
Oh, go girl. I love that.
Actually, that happened during a time when I was really seeking God about, why am I not married? And so I left church one Sunday and I headed to Cracker Barrel. It's like, I'm going to go eat something. And I was looking around in Cracker Barrel and I just started noticing, am I the only one here by myself? Because there were families and couples, and you look at grandma, grandpa, and the family, and then you see all these people with their children, and I was ashamed. I hate to say that now, but it's the truth. I was ashamed. And so I went up and I had them put my name on the list waiting for a table. And I knew who I was behind because I was right behind them when they put their name on the list. And so I said, well, what I'm going to do is when they called their name, I'm going to inch my way up to the front so that she wouldn't have to say party of one.
Wow.
Because Cracker Barrel calls you by your name and they say party of 5, party of 7, or whatever. And everybody was a party of more than one except for me.
Wow.
And so when I saw her looking at the list, getting ready to call my name, and she said, Lorraine, party up. I'm like, I'm here. You don't have to tell everybody I'm by myself.
Because during that time, you wasn't as comfortable in it.
I was not.
You had not become content with where you were.
I was not. And I went to the table. She sat me at a table. One thing that I noticed that what she did was she took up the other place setting. And
because they automatically place it like that.
They do.
You said in here they automatically would take you to the bar.
Exactly. I have gone to a lot of places by myself, and they's like, you want to sit at the bar? And I used to do that. But when I became comfortable in who I was and my status, I was like, no, I want to sit at a table just like everybody else.
Exactly.
And they put me, and that's when they start. And I actually had to come to that. In little ways, you don't feel worthy, or you don't feel comfortable, or you don't feel like everybody else, because you're by yourself. So, okay, yeah, all right. I'll sit at the bar. There's nothing wrong with sitting at the bar now.
Right.
But once I became comfortable with who I was,
right.
I'm like, no.
So you know what? I never put it together like this. But when you were speaking, you had the opportunity to either sit at the bar or a table.
Yes.
They automatically was going to put you at the bar because you were by yourself.
Exactly.
Starts with a B. In the 60s, during the civil rights days, we automatically had to go to the back of the bus because we were black.
Right.
Now, when it came time that we had a choice, we could either go to the back or the front. And you chose, no, I don't want that. I want to be able to go there.
Exactly.
But they looked at you like, but you're by yourself.
Right. They always do.
It's interesting, Lorraine, because last week we did a show and we were talking about relationships. We renewed our vows, my husband and I. Our coaches, actually, they were here from Virginia. And we got deep in, we talked about coaching. We talked about relationships, marriage. We talked about all of that. Here's the thing. Before you got to the point where you were proud to say party of one, you said you were almost ashamed. So I was sitting here as you were talking and I was like, I don't know what that feels like because I've always had somebody. From dating in high school all the way to marriage, I've always been somebody's woman. But get this, I do know what that felt like because I can remember while you were talking, I was thinking, I know sometimes when I was in between boyfriends and hurry up and got a boyfriend because I didn't want that feeling. So it's the same feeling. The only difference is that you were mature enough, you didn't even know it,
right,
to love you, to be single until you got whole.
Right.
I wasn't mature enough at that time to understand that even in God, and I didn't even know him then, but I was not mature enough or willing enough, patient enough to just say, you know what, I'm okay. I am pretty. I'm okay.
Right.
To not have to link up and be on somebody's arm.
Exactly. You see, as you get, the older you get, the more people ask, you haven't met anybody yet?
Something's wrong with you.
Why aren't you married yet? Or and I already had a child, so that wasn't even an issue. But I can almost feel the pain of women who are probably even married, but either don't want to have children, can't have children, or have decided to postpone having children. I think that we have to stop telling people where they are supposed to be in their life, because it starts to make people feel inadequate.
Exactly. I have people coming to me, and they'll say, I have all my children are married. And I have one, my daughter, my oldest, she has like four kids. And then I have a son with 2, and then my youngest, he and his wife, they haven't had children yet. But if you're married to at a certain amount of years, whatever, they're like, okay, now the children, and now the children. And this is the thing. I remember my younger days, my husband and I, we were attending a church, and there were a couple of couples there that had chosen to not even have children.
Right.
How about that? Like, they made the decision when they got married that they weren't. Now, and I know he won't mind me sharing this. And he was always like, I don't understand people who don't want to have children. I don't understand people who don't want to be married. But they have that choice.
Right.
And they're okay with it. I have a girlfriend who's been married, and she said, you know what, but I'm so okay right now. Like, I am between the job and the grandkids and the grown kids and just being loving to the family. She is like, I am okay. And people can say, all right. And in the back of their mind, they're like, not really. Who are we to say if a person isn't okay?
Exactly.
Where they are.
Well, I've met a young lady. No, actually, she was up in age lady, not old, but just, maybe 60. I don't know how old she was.
Girl, 60 now, honey. It's 40 something.
I know.
Yeah,
the closer I get to it, the more
I'm trying to tell
it
you.
seems.
I'm trying to tell you.
But she came to my singles class at church during vacation Bible school, actually, and she impressed me so much because she was actually a widow, and I have to tell you, she was beautiful. She was just physically beautiful inside and out. And one of the things she expressed was her husband had just passed. That's why I was wondering if it was the same lady. Her husband had just passed not too long before the class. And all she wanted was to enjoy her life. She wanted to do ministry. She wanted to spend time with her grandchildren. She wanted to travel with her family and friends. And she wasn't looking for a relationship. She's like, if I meet somebody fine, I don't really want to remarry. I'm here because I want to learn how to live my best single life. And that was like amazing to me, because I know so many people, and I was in the same predicament, who are living their lives waiting for their spouse, putting things on hold, not doing things.
Right.
Don't do that, people.
And you said putting things on hold, and that's your camera. Anytime you want to speak in there and say
don't do that.
You said putting things on hold.
Putting life on
Putting
travel.
life on hold. That's what they don't realize. They're putting their life on hold. So I have, believe it or not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women that I know that last year lost their husbands.
Wow.
5. And I remember reaching out to them, trying to love on them at different times. And some of them were doing better than others, what have you. But I remember calling up this one, and I was like, okay, so where are you? How can I love on you? And she said, you know what? I'm sad because he's been my everything. They were best friends. She said, but I'm excited because I don't even know who I am without being Mrs. Whoever.
Right.
And she said, so I'm kind of excited. She came to one of my vision board parties, and she was sitting there with that glue like a 5-year-old and cutting and gluing. And she was like, just getting to know who I am, like the things I can still do. She's not even 54 yet. And she said, there's the things that I could do. She's going back to school.
Wow.
She'll have a little job here and do a little something here. And she's like, I'm sad because I miss him. He was my everything, my best friend. But I'm excited because I am getting introduced to me. Exactly. Right? She's now a party of one. Let me go back in your book. You had some, this is good. You guys got to get this book. You got to get this book. Okay, so listen to this. I think this is when you were talking about getting to the bar. Okay. You said Oh, I love this. Okay. One Sunday evening, I was watching Christian TV. A minister was ministering to a church filled with women.
Mm-hmm.
He encouraged them to begin to appreciate and love themselves by not waiting for another person to treat them special. Instead, they should learn to love themselves enough to do all those special things for themselves. He suggested they get up, get dressed, made up, and take themselves out to dinner.
Yep.
He suggested that they take themselves to a nice movie, a nice restaurant, etc. You said, I listened intently and I decided to do just that. You took it to heart. You put it into practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said the following Saturday, you took yourself to a movie and you took the time to dress up and look good. But get this part, as if I were going out on a date with a man. See how we
Yes.
relate everything back to having a man?
Mm-hmm.
And you got pretty
Yes, I did.
to go out.
It's usually
Encourage the women about that. Talk to-
usually when I would actually go to a movie by myself or take myself out to dinner, just throw on some sweats, threw my hair in a ponytail or pushed it back or whatever, and just go. And that's all I did. When I listened to this bishop minister, I was like, okay, I'm going to love on myself more. And I am special enough to me to dress up just for me. And so that's what I started to do. Now, I didn't do it each and every time, but I did it a lot. I kept a date with myself.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, I kept a date with myself. I started going to plays.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I started finding things to do that didn't really cost a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And I started doing those things for myself. And it made the biggest difference.
That is so good.
Mhm.
That is so good because, while you were talking, and I want the ladies encouraged. I hope you're encouraged if you're out there and you're single and you only dress up because you got a date or to get a date. You know how, I don't know if you do this, but I know how I can go in a store and I'm looking at clothes. I'm looking at especially like a nice lingerie or
Mhm.
nice underwear or something. I'm always looking at it with the mindset, he's going to like this.
Yes.
Earrings, he's going to like this.
Mhm.
My hair, he's going to like this. But even as a married woman, Lorraine, I now have learned to be whole.
Mhm.
And I go in the store and I'm like, I like this. I hope he likes it.
Yes.
You get me?
Mhm.
I like these. I hope he likes them.
Mhm.
But I'm learning to love me.
Right.
And I applaud you. And I look up to you
Wow.
for being that person that did this.
Mhm.
When you were single, you sold into my marriage.
I did.
You linked up with me unknowingly, like we just kind of bonded
Mhm.
as you being a single woman, but you sold into my marriage, not just into me.
Mhm.
Why is it important for single women and men, for singles, but we're women. Why is it important to have married women in your life? And why is it important to maybe sow into their lives or to find one that you kind of, the Bible says mock the perfect person. And that by no means mean that nobody's perfect,
Right.
but that one that's modeling the Christ likeness, for lack of better terms, or what have you. Why is that important while you are single?
Well, when I first met you in our class, what you were teaching, I liked your spirit and your enthusiasm. You seemed so happy, and then you spoke often and you spoke highly of your husband, and I admired that. And
About to make me cry. Okay, I'm just telling you now.
I admire that because I've seen instances where women or men have put their spouses down, but you always spoke highly of your husband, and I always admired that. And so I think it's important to model for single women and men to model and have married people in their lives, because especially if you have a desire for it, you have to keep your eyes and ears focused on people who are happy with it.
That makes sense. I guess that's kind of like if you want to be a good athlete, then you model one, right?
Exactly.
You want to be a good teacher, you model one. I thank you for what you said. I do. I lift him up.
Mhm.
He's my friend first.
Yes.
Like he's my friend,
Mhm.
and I wish, again, like I said, I admire you because I wish I had did that in my single life. I had fun. Don't get me wrong. I had a good time, but in my good time, it was about looking for a man. Now.
Right.
I'm just going to keep it all the way real. I remember clubbing with my girls, and as soon as I found a man, I didn't want to go no more. They were like, well, I said, that's the reason why I was out there.
Right.
I can dance at home now. My focus should have been shifted. Okay, I got to get back to this book, A Party of One. It's called A Party of One, a guide to being single and happy. I love workbooks. It's a workbook so that you can literally make this thing practical. Okay. One of the things, and I kind of wanted you to read this, but you gave, not only did you tell them how you did it, you gave them steps on how to do this.
Right.
You said, first of all, don't stop turning down invitations to events that you're invited to because you don't have anybody.
Right.
Did you do that?
I did. I did that a lot at first. And then once God started dealing with me and I started becoming comfortable with who I am and my status, I started going to all kinds of things, not to look for somebody, but just to have fun, just to get out of the house, just to meet people, not with the intention of hooking up, but just knowing people. And I feel like the more people you have in life that are good people, that are positive people, the people that are following God and going in certain direction, the better. And so I started going places and doing things. And even if I didn't have anybody to go with, I didn't care about that anymore. I was like, I'll just go and have a good time. And I had to come out of my comfort zone because as much as I laugh and talk around my friends, most people would not believe that I am a little shy, especially when I'm around people that I'm not familiar with. Because my husband calls me the life of the party. But that's because I'm the life of the party when I'm with him,
right.
When I'm with my family, and when I'm in a comfortable environment around people I know. But when I get out of that, I kind of clam up just like other people do. And so I had to come out of that. I had to get out of my comfort zone and just go places and do things.
Are we good on time? Because I want to go a couple of places. Okay. So, okay. We got to get to your status now.
Yes.
But not yet. Because I got to get there. Let me go a little bit more in the book.
Okay.
But we got to get there because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about, I met some people that you know through you that I'm like, these are wonderful people. And it has a lot to do with your circle, right?
Yes.
Okay, check this out. We're going to talk about unhealthy relationships.
Okay.
Singles get into unhealthy relationships.
Been there, done that.
Okay. In your book, you said one of the reasons many singles get into unhealthy relationships is because we don't want to be lonely. I have never been married. That's what it says in this book. But I can tell you from testimony after testimony of my family and friends who are married, widowed, or divorced, marriage is not the cure for loneliness.
And it is not.
But people are jumping into marriage to cure it as if marriage is the pill for loneliness. And being alone don't mean
you're lonely.
Okay, talk to us about that.
Being alone and being lonely are two different things, totally different. You can be in a crowded room. I've been in a crowded room and felt lonely. Or you can be by yourself and be fulfilled. Yes. And it comes from being comfortable with you, liking you, enjoying your own company. Loneliness is feeling empty. Unless somebody is around, I'm just not comfortable.
And that's what they're feeling.
Exactly.
Because, it sounds like to me that if they're empty, they haven't, like you said, you had to learn who you were and start enjoying you.
Right.
Sometimes we empty ourselves out. It's some stuff in there, but we empty ourselves out. You talk about, and I think it was the next page, when we talk about lonely and loneliness and being with somebody and being lonely. So I just did a play called 50 Miles Per Hour.
Saw it.
Yeah. Okay. And so one of the things I mentioned that, the young lady was lonely and she was married. And she said that her mother always told her, baby, it's one thing to be lonely and you don't have anybody, but it's another thing to be lonely and you got somebody.
Exactly.
And so that's why they're rushing and getting into bad relationships, I think. because they think that once they're in a relationship, that is the have all end all.
Right.
But you got to know who you are. I when we did our vows last week, I vowed to my husband that I am coming to him whole now, and that's a striving, a walking, and that he would not. I promised him, I vowed to him that he would not be my everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how people were like, wait a minute, hold up. Something about that don't make sense, right? That don't make sense. And so I've been told that I'm shining. Okay. All right, okay. Got it. Okay. People were like, whoa. It's kind of like I'm married, but I'm learning how to be single within my marriage.
Right.
I talk about that in our first book, about learning who I am. I'm trying to get people to see that when you are you, when you are you by yourself, that's the best time. Not only to get to know God and talk about that piece being single, but it's the best time to get to know you. We're not knocking marriage.
Exactly.
We are just knocking, and we are knocking I'm knocking the mess out of being single and not loving who you are while you're single.
Exactly. And let me tell you something, Linda. The best type of person, in my opinion, to be married to is a person who's whole and they're okay with who they are.
That's the only
by themselves.
Only time you should.
That's the only time you should.
Okay, we don't do that, but that's the only time.
That's the only time you should. And because now you're not a leech, and now I don't have to entertain you, or you're not okay when I'm not at home, or I can't go anywhere and do anything because you don't have anywhere to go or anything to do.
That's good stuff.
No, that you can wear a person down with that. Okay, that just makes you seem so needy. So I just believe, if my husband leaves and goes somewhere and he has to be gone all day, you know what I'm at home doing? I'm at home either reading, talking to friends, finding something to do around the house, or I'm out and about myself, because I have a life with him, but I also have a life without him.
That's good stuff. I
have a life that I am happy with. I love being married. I love my husband. But I also know that before I met him, I was whole and healthy and happy, which I believe, and he has told me this, that's what drew him to me.
I believe it.
Yes. So it was not like, because when we first started talking, and it was not.
See, I didn't even tell y'all that. See, she busted. She messed the whole thing. I was setting it up. Let me back that up. She's married now. Okay, reverse. The book came out. Give me the book date.
The book came out last year in March or April.
Okay, so let's back it back up. When did you? But you were marketing the book before. Okay, hold on. March or April last year. Right. Good time. Okay.
I was actually engaged.
You were marketing the book before the engagement. You were talking about it, right?
I was talking about the book. The cover of the book actually came out after I got engaged on January 1st at about 12:01 a.m.
New Year's Eve. He got all romantic and stuff. Oh, man. But check this. How did you feel? First of all, even just dating when you knew it was getting serious. And then when he proposed, and you're like, wait a minute, hold up. I got this book coming out about singleness. How, in the what? Did you even think that people are going to buy this? They're going to think, even though you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Even though you were married, did you have anxiety about putting this out? And that's one question. And you teach or taught a singles class.
I sure did.
So you're like, what am I going to do with my class? What am I going to do with my book? How did you feel, and who helped you get through to understand you can still do this?
Well, first of all, I prayed about it, so I had peace about it. And my husband at the time, who was my fiance, was like, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And my publisher was, you're going to be fine because people will now know it actually works. And because it has worked for you. And but I did have did have a little anxiety. I had it about my class and my book. And, but God gave me a peace that surpassed all understanding. And so I was fine. I went through a period of, what's going to happen now? Because even on Facebook, when I introduced my book, and then when I said something about, it's 11 days before my wedding day, somebody posted, but I thought you were happily single.
They'll try to come at you.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I am. But now I'm getting married. And so my happily single turned into happily engaged, happily married. So, So the principles,
they still work.
They work.
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. I read this book as a married woman and took notes and like, okay. Okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
Wow.
So I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So I felt some kind of way when you got engaged.
You did?
Yes, because I was your teacher
Yeah.
and I had my own plans of hooking you up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had found the person, and so I would see the person at church, and I was like, I got somebody for you.
Yeah.
And then I would see you, and I said, honey, I'm going to need you to wear something else. You ready to tell you that all the time? I'm going to need you to stop wearing that. Because, okay, we have a question. I'm going to need you to wear something else because I'm going to hook you up. You said, okay. Then not only did she tell me she was engaged, it was with the person I was trying to hook you up with in the first place. I'm like, well, okay. God was like, you were in line. And I was like, I don't care. I just want to be the one that did it. That's me being selfish.
We actually, you introduced us one day. We were already dating. And you was like, Lorraine, this is Terrence. Terrence, Lorraine. And you was like, okay, that's all. I'm done. Then you walked away.
And I walked away like I did something.
Yeah, you did. And we looked at each other and just laughed.
Oh, I'm going to get y'all back. Okay. It's all right. Okay, so what's the question? How can they get the book?
Amazon.com. It's on Amazon, and it doesn't take but a couple of days to get it. Once you order it, it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.com. Okay, you heard that. Party of One. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit from the back because I want people to know, okay, does this even fit me?
Right.
Okay, so your back cover, if it's like most back covers, okay. So it says, Party of One focuses on the wisdom gained from one woman's journey to find acceptance, that's a big word, and peace while living single, while living the life as a single Christian. And life can be frustrating, worrisome. How did it get frustrating? Now, you talked about your peace. You talked about when you got to that point of, I'm okay being party of one. You also talked about being ashamed. Did you ever have any nights where it felt like, because how about this? This is what I love the most about your story. You're not 20. Okay, how about this? This is Lorraine's. What marriage is this? Your fifth, your fourth, your third, your second? Which one is this?
Number one.
This is her first
one and
marriage.
only.
Okay. Now, are you one of those ladies that don't tell your age? Because I have to respect that.
I don't mind telling my age.
Oh, okay. Because I just swing mine all over the place. So I didn't know if you want to say over something. But what blessed me was this your first marriage and you're over 50.
I am. Well over 50.
Okay. And this is your first marriage. Tell me about those frustrating days when you hit 45 and 47 and no husband.
Oh, well, listen, first in my 30s, I told God, okay, I'm okay as long as I'm married by the time I'm 42.
So you gave him...
I gave him a deadline.
Oh, no, I'm laughing at you, but I give... Oh, good. If I showed you my deadline and my... what do you call them? My... what I give God's... What you call it? When you tell somebody they got to do it. Ultimatum. I have an ultimatum God list. I used to anyway.
Yes.
But go ahead. By 30, what was it, 35?
I was 30, about 35, and I told God, okay, I'm cool. As long as I'm married by 42. Because at this point, I'm like, okay, obviously I'm not going to have any more kids.
Okay.
So as long as I'm, married by the time I'm 42, I'm good, God. We're cool. Real cool. So 42 came, and 42 left.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And 45. And 48.
Oh, wow.
And the 40s.
Talk to my 45, 46, 47-year-old sisters out there. They cool. They're not right at 50. Tell them. Tell the truth. How you felt. What got you through it. You know what? You're looking and you say, okay, hold on. This cannot be a gray hair.
Oh, yes.
Not a gray hair before a husband.
Yeah.
What the slam?
Yeah, I called one of my girlfriends and it's like, oh, my God. This is getting serious. My hair is turning gray. I started menopause early.
Come on now.
And so I was like, okay, I'm officially old. That's what I was telling myself.
Right,
I'm officially old now.
Right.
And so I started to get a little depressed and started feeling a little hopeless and started really blaming God.
Come on, let's tell the truth. My youngest son, I say this all the time. He had to help me with that. I remember one day he said, "Look like you're a little mad." I said, He said, "Seem like you're a little mad at God." I said, "No, not me." See, I'm so Pharisee-ish. I'm not. He said, "Mother, it's okay. There's a whole book in the Bible called Lamentations, and the root word is called lament. God can handle it.
Yes. And it's the thing is that as Christians, we don't want anybody to know we're mad at God because it seems like a lack of faith. And so I was battling back and forth with God, just battling back and forth with God. And the worst part is, and I would tell anybody, never compare yourself to other people.
With nothing.
With nothing.
That's what gets you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. It's like, so you're doing this for this one, and you're doing it for that one, and this is their third, and this is their second, and you won't even give me.
How about this? We'll do this too. But God, I'm more saved than them.
Okay.
They were kind of slipping a little bit, and you still blessed them.
That's self-righteous stuff.
Yeah. I ain't even slept with nobody, God. They were giving it up, and you blessed them.
Yeah.
Oh, you have,
Oh, there's a lot of stuff a lot of different emotions I went through. And I remember at the church I was attending at the time, the pastor's wife preached a sermon, and she said, basically, some of you are just angry with God, and you just need to admit it. And you need to find out how to get back in right relationship with him. And that in and of itself spoke to me.
Wow.
It spoke to me. It's like, that was the one time I walked in church and felt worse when I walked out.
Wow.
Because, I go to church to get inspired.
But that's okay. But how about this? You did. We got to stop thinking that inspiration means glee and flowers. You were inspired to do something different.
Exactly. I was inspired to change.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. And I knew it was God because even after I got home, it still was rolling around in my head, in my spirit. It was still everything she said. And I was like, God, that was me. She was talking to me. And so I went on Facebook and I looked her up and I actually sent her a message, a private message. And I said, what you said to me, what you said today was for me. I am angry with God and I don't know how to get over it. I love God and I was serving God, but I was still had this thing going on in my heart. And that was when she gave me a book to read. But before she even gave me the book, I knew it was my answer and I straightened up. And I repented.
You took off your sackcloth and ashes.
I did. I took off my sackcloth and ashes and it just, my whole demeanor changed. My whole mindset changed. I read the book that she gave me and it was inspiring, but it was like, I knew God was got to do something in my life right then. And everything about me changed.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. Oh, my goodness. You're such an inspiration.
Thank you.
You really, really are a party of one. That is amazing. I tell you what. And now you're a party of two.
Party of two.
But you're still whole.
Still whole.
And he's whole.
He's whole.
And that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
I need you. We only have a few minutes, but I want you to look right in. That's her camera, right? I want you to look at that camera. I want you to encourage those ones that's sitting out there. The ones that feel like they are not whole because they don't have a better half, as they say. Those that have crossed over that 45, 48 mark, and they just think that life is over. This is why I wrote 50 miles per hour. I coach women. We coach couples. Not only are they feeling like they're nobody because they don't have a man, what they do at a certain point in age, they start doing whatever they want to. Even the ones that have been living holy and living for God, they're swinging it and slinging it and saying, you know what, I got to do this now because my biological clock is ticking. I have not seen that clock yet, but they need to be encouraged. It's not to knock them, right? No. I want you to encourage them, and then we're going to pray for them. Okay.
So I'm here as a living witness and a testimony just to let you know that God has not forgotten about you, but I want you to live your best life right now. I want you to go places you've never been, do things you've never done. If you've always wanted to go on a cruise or go to Paris or go to London or whatever, do it. Don't wait on somebody. You are a whole person. When God created you, he had a purpose for you. He did not say that you can't do this or you can't do that until you get into a serious relationship or you get married. God created you alone for a purpose. Walk in your purpose, enjoy your life, be happy, don't sweat the small stuff, don't wait on something to happen before you start living your life. Just live your life and be happy where you are. And before you look up, your blessing is right there in front of you. But even if God never sends you a mate, if you never get married, you are just wonderful the way you are.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Oh, that came from your heart.
Amen.
Lord God, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for those sisters out there that are feeling this way, or brothers, because I know some brothers that are feeling that same way. So God, we ask you right now to comfort them, to cover them, to give them the assurance that you love them, Lord God, and that you got all things, that everything works together for your glory. And remind them that everything, the marriage, the singleness, their wholeness, is to bring you glory in Jesus' name. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Lorraine. I want to thank you guys for joining another edition of Straight from the Heart. Don't forget, if you're leading and going into a marriage and you need some guidance, you can give us a call at 678-499-1802. My husband and I would be glad to sit and coach with you. And do know that everything we do, everything that we say, it comes straight from our heart. And until next time, I'm Linda K. Lee.
It's Linda K. Lee on the internet TV. Relational, uplifting, motivational. We coming straight from the heart with this one. Trying from the very start. She really tries to do her part. She comes straight from the heart.